At the U.S. Nationals at Indianapolis Raceway Park, it is Mark Oswald driving the Candies and Hughes special with a new engine. They hurt the motor in the first round of racing. Now they have put in a brand new engine to race against the reigning world champion driving the Chi-Town Hustler. This is Frank Hawley. Hawley from London, Ontario, Canada, has won the World Championship for 2 consecutive years, but he is out of the hunt in the points chase this season. The man that is leading, though, is Mark Oswald. He picked up those valuable bonus points by establishing a new national record, and he is hot after that world champion title. The man that's already won the Top Fuel title is Joe Amato.
Joe Amato yells over at Canicoletta with a big smile. Looks like it's your turn. This world championship would save just about any wound here today, huh?
Yeah, we really wanted to try and do good and win the race, Steve. There's nothing like winning Indy, you know. It would have been the coup de grace, so to speak, you know. The car just had a little too much power in it. We took some power out of it because we thought the track would be going away, but apparently we didn't take enough out, and it just went out there and smoked the tires. I tried to pedal it, but it just, you know, was just hopeless. It just overpowered the track.
Well, you've had a wonderful year, and you wear the world championship beautifully.
Mark Oswald, number 2 in the world last season, wants to wear the number 1. He is racing against the man that won that world championship last year, Frank Hawley, in the far lane. Oswald qualified number 1, Hawley number 5, but boy, this is a close race. Look at the finish, and it's Hawley by half a car length, and the upset. Very consistent, 5.79 seconds at over 256 miles an hour. Frank Hawley puts away the new national record holder, the points leader, and the man that qualified in the number 1 spot. Hawley, driving that Chi-Town Hustler, picked up a very slight lead off the start. He began to extend it and won the race.
Frank, 256 miles an hour, that's the fastest you've ever gone.
Well, generally we don't run it right to the last light, but when you're racing Mark, my goodness, I saw him about half track and he was in front, and their car always runs fast. Fell off a little bit. I wasn't taking any chance. I drove it right out the back door is what they say.
Even though you've won 2 world titles, this one's eluded you. You'd like it.
Oh, gosh, anybody that's ever drag raced would like to win Indy, the Nationals. All I ever do is I remember who was the world champion last year and who won Indy, and I want to win.
And he's on his way to the semis.
Steve, we'll find out in just a few moments how he does as the next pairing again. The relative newcomer against the KG veteran. The man from Columbus, Ohio, is Jim Head. His main claim to fame, he finished in the runner-up spot at the recent NHRA Cajun Nationals Championship down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Head pulling into the water box, totally unsponsored, running the car on his own, does a very brief and short burnout. He's 35 years old and is regarded by many as one of the rising stars of the sport. He's racing against one of the true stars. This is Ed the Ace McCulloch, driving the other all-star racing team entry of Larry Meyer. A huge crowd on hand under threatening skies. Last night, a severe thunderstorm struck this sprawling Indianapolis Raceway Park facility. In fact, rain earlier this morning delayed the start of competition, but the track now dry and safe. Let's go down to Steve with Mark Oswald.
Well, Mark, you hated to change engines, but it had to be done, huh?
Yeah, I guess it was a little rich. They said they saw a drop of cylinder. It was a good race, and mid-track I was actually a little ahead of him, and like he said, you know, our car's got a good top end, but not that time. It was just running on 7 cylinders.
Well, you worked hard, and you ran very well, and congratulations on being the quickest driver of all time in this category.
Thank you.
Mark Oswald holds the national record. He is leading the points chase, but he is very disappointed at his loss in the second round of competition for this prestigious U.S. Nationals title. 2 drivers that are in the thick of the chase. Ed McCulloch in the near lane, Jim Head in the far lane. The burnouts are over. The staging procedure is almost completed, and it's a good start for both drivers. It is McCulloch with a slight lead, but Jim Head begins to come on, and at the finish line, a big upset. It is Jim Head from Columbus, Ohio, the man, the best finish thus far. Only a runner-up spot, 5.92 seconds, but look at his speed, 255 miles an hour, and that's where he came around and defeated Ed McCulloch at the finish line. So 2 of the 3 all-star racing team entries of Larry Meyer are out of competition. The only car remaining is the boss himself. Back at the starting line, we're into the burnout procedures as we have more funny cars. These 2,500 horsepower plus fiberglass creations are one of the crowd's favorites, and this is one of the best. Tom the Mongoose McEwen hailing from Fountain Valley, California. McEwen is regarded by many as one of the premier drivers ever to sit behind the wheel of a championship drag racing car. He's driven them all, from a top fuel dragster to a funny car, you name it. For John Collins, a long and illustrious career for Collins. He calls Long Beach, California home. They're meeting here on the starting line at the U.S. Nationals, the most prestigious race of them all. It was in 1978 that Tom McEwen pulled off the upset of that year as he defeated Don Prudhomme in the finals of Funny Car. The Mongoose would love to repeat this year. John Collins trying to stop him, though. Can it be done? Let's see. Collins up in smoke, and it is McEwen just glued to the asphalt and through the finish line and almost losing control as the parachutes come out. John Collins coasts across the finish line. But for McEwen, a 5.85 seconds at 238 miles an hour. One of the surprise winners has been Jim Head.
I can tell you exactly how you won that. A big top-end charge at 255.
Well, I thought I was running pretty hard on the high end, and I went around him in the top of high gear, and I didn't see him anymore when I crossed the finish line.
And that kind of speed doesn't really pay you any money, but it shows you got a lot of power there that maybe you could work on the elapsed time with.
Well, my race car's been running a lot of speed all year. We run 260 already this year. We run over 258 about 4 or 5 times, and a lot of 255. So hopefully we'll get a little more ET out of this race.
Yeah, it's going to take better than 590.
Is that what it ran, 590? It's a little slow.
Jim Head, knowing he has to improve on his elapsed time performance, but he's already made it into the semifinals. We'll find out how he does in just a short while. Right now, we're down to the last 2 cars in this round of racing. Kenny Bernstein is in the near lane, and his fellow Texan doing the burnout in the far lane is Billy Meyer from Waco, Texas. It was 1 year ago that Kenny Bernstein had one of the greatest 3 weeks in championship drag racing. He won nearly $100,000, culminating that streak with a big win at the U.S. Nationals. His competition is a man that started driving funny cars at the tender age of 16, Billy Meyer. Meyer is lined up in his Mustang in the far lane. In the Ford tempo-bodied creation will be Bernstein in the near lane. Both cars highly competitive, and it is Bernstein off the mark first. Smoking the tires is Meyer, and Bernstein with an easy go. Runs over 249 miles an hour at 5.84 seconds. That sets up our semifinal round of competition in funny car. Jim Head against Tom McEwen. Frank Hawley against Kenny Bernstein. Over in the top fuel pit area, there's a lot of frantic work going on in Larry Minor's all-star racing team entry. Remember, out of 3 cars, Minor is the only one remaining. The work goes on to rebuild the engine as we'll be coming right back to the U.S. Nationals.